Hi. Okay. So I'm going to kind of pre-record this before the lesson hits and I'll post it up to YouTube. This way you guys have access to it just in case. So we're going to be practicing a little bit of moles to atoms. And I pulled 4 of these questions directly from your Edulastic practice sheet. So moles to atoms is a little bit easier, if you will, than moles to mass because you don't have to solve for molar mass. The only thing that we're going to be using is Avogadro's number. Now, what I need to stress to you guys is make sure you're popping this into a calculator correctly. So using your parentheses, because when you're dealing with exponents, sometimes it's pretty easy to get tripped up. So we're going to highlight back to our mole conversion diagram. And I'm going to go big for a moment. All right, so we see here. So if we're going from moles to particles, so atoms, ions, molecules, etc., this is what our conversion is going to be. So if we're going from moles to particles, we multiply by Avogadro's number over 1. If we're going from particles to moles, we're going to multiply by the inverse, which is 1 over Avogadro's number. So this is going to feel familiar to mass and moles, but we're eliminating that molar mass aspect. So we don't have to solve for molar mass first. We're just eliminating one step. One thing that I like to do is I actually like to write down Avogadro's number on the top of a piece of paper that I'm working on, or make sure it's like tabbed or sticky noted someplace. This way I don't have to go in and like refresh my brain all the time. There's just some things that are just not worth memorizing. Avogadro's number is one of them. All right, so it's asking me here, how many molecules? So remember, I always underline what I'm looking for because that's going to be my unit. And they're giving me 3 moles. So I'm going to start with what's given, right? Still trying to finish my coffee here. So I'm going to start with 3 moles of NO2. Okay. Now I'm going to pop back up to my conversion chart just to be sure I know what I'm doing. So if I'm going from moles to particles, or atoms, molecules, etc., so particles is just the general term we're using, this is what I need to be using. I need to multiply it by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1. Ooh, don't know what that was. All right, so I'm going to multiply by Avogadro's number, so 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1, okay? And I'm going to punch this into my calculator. And I'm going to see what comes of it. Got my calculator here. So blank screen. So I'm doing 3 times, and notice how I put parentheses there, okay? Parentheses are your friend. 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1. Close my parentheses. And I get 1.806 times 10 to the 24th. Remember, we want, where am I going? To focus on the 100th place here. So this is going to be 1.81 times 10 to the 24th molecules. Okay, let's try another one. How many molecules? So this is what's being asked. So I know that's going to be my unit. And this is what's given. So this is what I'm going to be starting with. So I have 2 moles of NH3. And I'm going to multiply that by my conversion, which is Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1. I'm going to pop that into my calculator. And I get 1.20 times 10 to the 24th molecules. Okay. That's all there is to it, folks. Let's go in the opposite direction. Let's go from molecules to moles. So this is what it's asking me. So I know this is going to be my unit. This is what's being given. So I know that's what I'm starting with. So it's starting with sucrose in moles and it's going to molecules. So I have 1.505 times 10 to the 24th molecules. Okay. And I'm going to multiply that, all right, by my conversion. So if I'm going from molecules to moles, from particles to moles, that's my conversion factor, 1 over Avogadro's number. And I'm going to punch that into my calculator. Okay, clear everything out, make sure it's nice and clear. So 1.505. If this is what's given, don't round, okay? Always punch the numbers in the calculator that are there. The answers we round. If it's giving you this number, don't round that to 1.51, okay? That's what's being given, that's what you use. Now, one tip that I do for the calculator is I will actually put this in parentheses too, because that exponent can sometimes get tricky. Remember, Mr. Crea says calculators are just machines. They don't do the thinking for you. Okay, so the answer we get hang on a second, let me punch it into my calculator because it just deleted on itself. We get 2.5 mole. Okay. 2.5. Let's try another one. How many moles? So I know this is what we're looking for. This is what's given. So I have 1.806 times 10 to the 24th. And we're multiplying that by the inverse, so it's 1 mole over Avogadro's number. So and I think this came out wrong. So I'm going to pause for a second and see what I did with the calculator. Knew it came out wrong. So it equals 3 mole. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here. Obviously, I'll do a little bit of editing so you guys don't see my blunders. But those should help with the solving of your Edulastic worksheet. And we're going to do a couple of them in class as well.